The first thing you notice is the sound, or rather the lack of it. Snow takes the edge off everything. The trail ahead is a pale ribbon between bare trunks, and the light is that thin blue-gray light that a Minnesota February gives you for free. This is Whitetail Woods Regional Park, in the middle of Dakota County, and it is one of the newest large parks in the state. Today it is quiet, cold, and completely awake. We are about 30 miles south of downtown Minneapolis in St. Paul, in Empire Township, just north of the small city of Farmington. The park covers about 456 acres of rolling ground, oak woods, restored grassland, wetland, and a lake called Empire Lake. It sits roughly a mile north of the Vermilion River. On a map, it looks like a green island dropped into a grid of section roads and farm fields. On the ground, it feels older than that. To understand these hills, you have to go back to the ice. During the last glaciation, a great tongue of ice called the Des Moines Lobe pushed down out of the northwest across Minnesota, reaching all the way to what is now Des Moines, Iowa, roughly 14,000 years ago. A branch of it, the Grantsburg sublobe, swung east across this part of the state. Everything under our boots today was arranged by that ice, or by the water that came off it. Watch the ground as we walk. It rolls. It never quite settles into flat. That is glacial country, ground that was dumped rather than laid down, sand and gravel and clay shoved into low ridges and shallow bowls and left behind when the ice failed. The dips fill with water. The rises stay dry and hold the oaks. Nothing here is dramatic. It is all small, patient topography, and in winter, with the leaves gone, you can finally read it. The ice did not just sit here, it bled. Enormous volumes of meltwater poured off the glaciers and braided across the land in shifting channels, carrying sand and gravel and sorting it by weight as they went. Those outwashed deposits are the reason so much of this country drains fast and grows sand and gravel pits alongside its corn. When the Grantsburg sublobe blocked the old drainage, meltwater was forced into new paths. Rivers in this part of Minnesota are still using channels that ice built. Through the trees, the lake. In February, Empire Lake is a flat white plate with a scrawl of animal tracks across it and a ring of cattails standing dead in gold at the edge. Under that lid, life has not stopped. It has slowed. Water at the bottom of a Minnesota lake in winter hovers just above freezing, and fish, turtles, and insect larvae waited out down there in the dark, running on almost nothing until the light comes back. A mile south of us is the Vermilion River, and it is genuinely unusual. Around 13.5 miles of it are designated as a trout stream, which is a strange thing to find on the edge of a major metropolitan area. Cold groundwater feeds it steadily enough that brown trout reproduce there on their own. That water is glacial legacy too. It moves through those sand and gravel beds, stays cold, and comes up clean. The name vermilion is French, and it means red. It is usually traced to deposits of red ochre that the Dakota used as paint. The Dakota name recorded for the river translates roughly as Red Paint River. That is a good reminder of something we should say plainly at the start of the human part of this walk. Long before it was Dakota County on a surveyor's plat, this was Dakota homeland, and the county carries that name because the people were here first. Picture this ground before any of it was ours. Not the closed forest we are walking through now, but something more open. Ecologists place this area in the oak savanna country of southern Minnesota, a mosaic of tallgrass prairie with scattered fire-tolerant oaks standing in it like survivors. That landscape was held open by fire, some of it lightning, much of it set deliberately by people who understood exactly what fire does to a grassland and to the animals that use it. This is the homeland of the Dakota, and specifically the eastern Dakota bands, the Mdewakanton and the Wapikute, whose villages and hunting grounds took in the country between the Minnesota and Mississippi rivers. That is not a closed chapter. The Dakota are here now, in tribal nations in Minnesota and across the plains and into Canada, still speaking the language, still claiming the ground. We are guests walking on it. It is worth carrying that thought for the next 3 miles. Red ochre is iron-rich earth, and it turns up in human hands almost everywhere people have lived. Ground fine, it becomes pigment. That a river here was named for the red paint found along it tells you that this was a working landscape, not an empty one. People knew where the ochre was, where the deer wintered, where the wild rice grew, where the oaks dropped acorns. That knowledge is the oldest layer of information about this ground, and it predates every map of it. Everything about the modern surface of this county, the roads at 1-mile intervals, the square fields, the fence lines, comes from a decision made a long way from here. The United States surveyed this land into townships and sections so it could be sold. Before it could be sold, it had to be taken. That is the plain shape of what happened in southern Minnesota in the middle of the 19th century, and it happened fast. On the 5th of August, 1851, at Mendota, near Pilot Knob and within sight of Fort Snelling, the Mdewakanton and Wapikute Dakota signed a treaty ceding most of their remaining land in southern Minnesota. Leaders including Talyejuda, known to settlers as Little Crow, signed partly on the promise that older debts and annuities would finally be paid. Congress ratified the treaty. Many of those promises were not kept. The land opened to settlers the following year. What followed is not a comfortable story, and it should not be told as one. Broken payments and hunger led in 1862 to the war between the Dakota and the United States, and then to mass executions, imprisonment, and forced removal from Minnesota. Families were driven out of the country we are standing in, and still the Dakota returned and remain. Any honest walk through a place called Dakota County has to hold both of those facts at once. The settlers who came into Empire Township in the early 1850s came mostly out of New York and New England, and they came to farm. Breaking prairie sod was brutal work, sometimes needing several yoke of oxen to drag a plow through root mat that had been knitting itself together for thousands of years. Once broken, though, the black soil underneath was extraordinary. Within a generation, the savanna and grassland that had covered this county were essentially gone, turned under. Farmington, the town just south of us, got its name almost by accident. The settlement was first called Dakota City, and it grew up where the railroads met the Vermilion River. But the depot there was known as Farmington Station, and travelers kept calling the whole place Farmington until the name simply stuck. The name fit. It was a village of farms in a township that had chosen for itself the confident name of Empire. The railroad is why any of this exists in the shape it does. Rail lines converging near the Vermilion River made this a shipping point, and Farmington received its village charter in 1872, making it one of the oldest communities in the county. Grain moved out, goods moved in, and the country around it filled with farmsteads. In 1879, a fire tore through the young downtown and took houses, stores, a hotel, and a grain elevator with it. For well over a century, this was simply farm country, an unglamorous farm country at that. Corn, hay, dairy, hogs. The Dakota County Fair moved to Farmington in 1869 and became the yearly hinge of the whole community. By the 1890s, Farmington was a modest but confident little rail town, one of the first places in the country to get rural free mail delivery. None of that produced monuments. It produced fields, and it produced quiet. It is worth pausing on the fair because it tells you what mattered here. In an agricultural county, the fair is where the year is measured. Livestock judged, grain and preserves compared, machinery admired, neighbors seen. That is the social fabric this ground sat inside for 150 years. Not wilderness, not city. Working land, worked by people who mostly did not write anything down about it, and whose names are on almost nothing. Which brings us to a fact you would never guess from inside these woods. This park was farmland. Most of Dakota County's parkland was. This particular ground was farmed and it was hunted privately for generations. Whitetail Woods is not preserved wilderness that somebody had the foresight to fence off. It is recovered ground. It was bought back on purpose, and it is being repaired on purpose. That distinction changes how you walk through it. Look for the evidence once you know to look. A line of unusually old oaks that were once a fence row, a ditch that is too straight, a stand of trees whose ages all match because they seeded into an abandoned field at the same moment. Every recovered farm landscape in the upper Midwest carries these signatures. In summer, they are buried in green. In February, with the leaves down and the snow flattening everything else, they are easy to see. Dakota County bought this land in 2008, paying somewhere around $12 million for it. That is a serious amount of public money for a county to spend on ground that was, at the time, just fields and woods with a lake in them. A master plan was adopted by the county board in February of 2012. The park opened on the 27th of September, 2014. It was the county's first new regional park in nearly 30 years. The thing this park became famous for is not its trails. It is 3 small cabins. Designed by the Minneapolis firm HGA, they are built out from a wooded slope on concrete piers and stilts, entered across a bridge, so that they hang out among the trunks of a pine stand above Empire Lake like treehouses for adults. They are tiny, dark cedar boxes, warm as a sauna inside, with one big window aimed at the water. Two details about those cabins are worth keeping. First, they were not built by a contractor flown in from anywhere. They were built by county employees working alongside high school students in a vocational training program. Second, they won real recognition for it. The camper cabins took a 2016 American Architectural Award and a 2016 Wood Design Award for craft. A county park in a farm township, built partly by teenagers, judged against the best buildings in the country. The slower work here is ecological. The county's plan calls for restoring a large share of the park's acreage, roughly 100 acres of former tallgrass prairie and oak savanna, either replanted or brought back by clearing out the invasive brush that has smothered it. That means buckthorn cut and treated native seed drilled into old crop ground, and fire brought back deliberately. It is a decades-long project. It will not be finished in our lifetimes, and that is fine. So that is the human story. Now the harder one, the one this walk is really about. Every living thing in this park is, at this moment, in the middle of an examination. A Minnesota February is not a pause in the year. It is the filter. Most of the animals whose tracks we are crossing will make it. Some of them will not, and the ones that do not will mostly die in the last weeks before spring. Start with the animal the park is named for. A whitetail deer does not fight winter, it economizes. It grows a coat of hollow hairs that traps air like insulation. It moves less. Its metabolism slows and its appetite drops, so it needs less food precisely when there is less to be had. It runs on fat laid down in autumn, and it burns that fat carefully. Every unnecessary step in deep snow is a withdrawal from an account it cannot refill. Deer also cheat cleverly. They gather in sheltered ground, often under conifer cover where the canopy catches the snow and the drifts stay shallow. Those wintering areas get called deer yards, and the same ones are used year after year, mothers passing them to their fawns. Inside a yard, the deer pack down a network of trails so that walking costs less. The price of that trick is company. Everyone is eating the same twigs. By February, the menu is grim. Twigs, buds, bark, whatever green remains. This is browse, and it is thin food. Meanwhile, under the snow, an entirely separate world is running. Mice and voles live in the subnivean space, the gap between the snowpack and the ground, where the Earth's heat keeps things survivably warm and the white ceiling hides them. Late winter is the hardest stretch of the whole year, and the animals doing best are the ones underneath us. Snow is the best notebook in the world, and it only comes out for a few months. Read across our trail. The neat paired punctures of deer. The bounding four-print clusters of a squirrel running between trees. The dainty line of a mouse that emerged, thought better of it, and went back down. And here and there, a wing print, 2 fans of feather marks in the powder and nothing else. Something came down and something did not get away. Listen, that is a chickadee, and by rights it should be impossible. It weighs about as much as 2 sheets of paper. It stays here all winter, and it does not migrate an inch. It survives by 2 extraordinary tricks. In autumn, it hides thousands of individual seeds in hundreds of separate places, and the part of its brain that handles spatial memory actually grows in the fall to hold the map, then shrinks again in spring. The second trick is stranger. On cold nights, a chickadee deliberately lets its own body temperature fall by several degrees, a controlled hypothermia that can cut its overnight energy burn nearly in half. It goes cold on purpose. Then it shivers itself back up at dawn and starts again. The nuthatches running head first down the trunks and the woodpeckers hammering out there are playing the same game with different rules. Nobody out here is coasting. And then there is the one that treats February as spring. The great horned owl is Minnesota's earliest nesting bird. Courtship starts in December, and eggs are laid in the deep of winter, from late January into February. A female owl sits on eggs while snow accumulates on her back. She does it because her young need 6 or 7 months of training before they can hunt, so the clock has to start now, in the cold. Look up. Some of these young oaks are still holding their dead leaves, brown and curled and rattling. That is called marcescence, and nobody is entirely certain why oaks do it. The leading guesses are that the dry leaves shelter next year's buds from wind, or trap snow, or make the twigs less appealing to a hungry deer. The tree itself is not asleep so much as shut down, waiting, with next spring's leaves already packaged inside those buds. The light is going, the way it goes in February all at once and early. Our tracks are already behind us, and by tomorrow they will be someone else's puzzle. This is a park that is only about a decade old, on land that was farmed and hunted for a century and a half, on ground the Dakota have called home far longer, arranged by ice that left 14,000 years ago. All of it still here under the snow. That is the thing about a winter walk. Nothing is showing off. The deer are counting calories, the chickadee is rebuilding its own body heat, the owl is sitting on eggs in the cold, and the oaks are holding their buds shut. And a county decided, not very long ago, to buy a set of old fields back and let all of that happen. Thank you for watching. Follow for more trails of the world.